I was halfway through grilling steaks on the back deck of my lakefront lodge, just minding my own business, thinking maybe the world was finally going to let me have one quiet evening, when out of nowhere, this wild cheer rolled over the water, the kind that sounds like a touchdown just got scored. At the exact same moment, I heard the unmistakable clank of metal on metal, and I knew, somebody was messing with my front gate. I turned, spatula still in hand, and watched as the padlock I'd installed just 2 weeks earlier hit the gravel in two busted halves, the chain swinging there like some kind of sad trophy. Beyond it, people. Not just a couple, not a family here for a barbecue, but dozens, hell, hundreds, of folks storming in like I'd just put up a sign. Free lakefront, come on down. Beach chairs, coolers, floaties, you name it, they were hauling it in. For a second, I honestly thought I'd lost my mind. Maybe I was hallucinating. Maybe this was a prank. But then I saw her, Karen, HOA queen, self-appointed, self-important, standing dead center in a floppy hat and sunglasses, waving people through like she was the mayor of Funtown. Now, I could have laughed. It was ridiculous. But, sometimes life stops being funny real quick. I set my tongs down and did a slow pan with my phone. Receipts. Always gotta have receipts. Then started weaving my way down, dodging a kid with a keg and a lady trying to hand me a paper plate of potato salad like I was the guest. I dropped the plate, made eye contact with Karen. Want to tell me why my front yard looks like Coachella? She gave me that grin she saves for telling people to bring in their trash cans. It's not just your property, Greg. The lakefront is a shared community amenity. You can't just hoard it. And that lock. She nodded at the shrapnel on the ground. That's illegal. You can't bar us from access. Funny thing, because I do own every inch of dirt from the mailbox to the dock. HOA doesn't own squat here. Karen knew it. I knew it. The county register knew it. But Karen's smile didn't budge. You weren't using it properly. So I organized a little neighborhood gathering. Don't worry, we'll clean up. Behind her, a teenager dragged a jet ski to the water, a kid cannonballed off my dock, and my blood pressure crept up. I took a breath and bit back about 100 different responses. Sarcasm wasn't going to cut it. I needed calm, deliberate escalation. Karen, you've got 30 seconds to tell everyone to pack it up before I call the sheriff and let him explain trespassing. She didn't even blink. Go ahead. The police know this is common ground. I already spoke with them. Total lie. I saw it in her eyes, but she was confident enough to get the crowd clapping. Some dude I'd never seen raised his beer. Yeah, community spirit. I smiled, held up my phone, and started recording. Perfect. Then you won't mind if I make the call. Karen's jaw tensed. That was the first crack. I dialed 911, gave the dispatcher my address, explained there was a neighborhood mob using my property as their event space. She sounded skeptical, but when I told her the address, her voice changed fast. Stay on the line, sir. Deputies are on their way. I closed the gate with a satisfying clang, chained it, locked it, this time from my side. Suddenly, the crowd realized they weren't getting out easy. Karen hissed, "You can't lock us in." I just shrugged. Watch me. For 5 minutes, the party tried to keep the energy up. Music, drinks, the whole deal. But people started to notice the vibe had changed. One woman worried about her babysitter. Another pulled her husband by the sleeve. I leaned against the post, arms folded, didn't need to yell. Tom was working for me. Karen, not one to give up, climbed up on a picnic table and tried to rally the troops. He's bluffing. The sheriff knows we have rights. But before she could finish, the flash of red and blue lights danced through the trees. The music died, the crowd froze, and the kid on my dock dropped his soda. Deputies walked in, one of them nodding to the broken lock. Sir, you want to explain what we're looking at? I kept it simple. They broke the lock. They broke in. They're using my lodge as a party spot. Karen tried to spin it, but I cut her off, loud enough for everyone. HOA has zero jurisdiction here. The deed's got my name. You want to see it? The senior deputy nodded. We'll need to sort this out. They split up, took statements. Suddenly, Karen was getting pointed at by her own guests as the ringleader. One guy mumbled he saw a flyer. Someone else said she posted about it on the Facebook group. Every excuse dug Karen's hole deeper. I hung back, watching her empire crumble in real time. The deputy called me over. You're saying the land is yours outright? I handed him my folder, kept my voice calm. Mailbox to dock, officer. County has a copy. I've got another in the safe. He nodded. looked back at the crowd. People were arguing now, shoving, blaming Karen for dragging them here. The party was over, just embarrassment and anger left. Karen snapped. This is harassment. He's always been against the community. We're entitled to this water. The deputy sighed. Ma'am, community spirit doesn't involve bolt cutters. The crowd laughed, and Karen flushed bright red. One deputy quietly pulled me aside. You want to press charges tonight? Or just clear them out? I waited. Part of me wanted Karen in cuffs, but the bigger part wanted her to stew in this public defeat. Clear them out. I'll follow up. He nodded. Smart. The officers herded everyone off. The mob went from wild to sheepish real quick. Some mumbled apologies, most avoided eye contact, a few glared. Karen lingered, arms crossed. When the deputies nudged her toward the exit, she leaned in and growled. This isn't over. The HOA will bury you in complaints. I just smiled. You picked the wrong guy for the long game. As soon as the crowd left, the quiet felt electric. But next morning, sure enough, a letter slid under my door. No envelope. HOA letterhead. Cease and desist. Restore access immediately or face daily fines. Karen had signed it herself. My attorney's response was immediate. She's hanging herself. Don't reply. Let's handle it. Later that day, I caught Karen marching door to door, clipboard in hand, rallying support. But now people looked away. The night's spectacle had changed something. A neighbor even texted, after what happened, most of us are done with her. For years, I'd been the outsider. Now the cracks in Karen's empire were showing. It got weirder. A few days later, Karen rolled up with a convoy of SUVs and her so-called legal counsel, waving a fat packet of legalese at my gate. I took my time finishing my coffee, then wandered out. You're not licensed, I told her fake lawyer. This isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Even Karen's supporters were shifting, mumbling maybe they should let it go. Soon after, another letter, this time certified mail, threatened hearings for noncompliance, even though my property wasn't in the HOA. My attorney laughed so hard he had to hang up. It's mail fraud now. We're going to counter for damages. But Karen wasn't done. A work crew showed up to install an HOA lock on my driveway. I recorded the whole thing, told the crew they were risking arrest. They packed up, Karen screaming after them. Her need for control was starting to look like desperation. Karen tried bureaucracy, sending inspectors to harass me. They checked my dock, my deck, left embarrassed when they found every permit in order. She tried gossip, rumors about me being hostile. But I had videos of her breaking my lock, rallying a mob, ordering illegal locks. When I finally shared the footage in the neighborhood forum, comments exploded, people were stunned. The real twist came when a group of neighbors, some of her old allies, showed up at my door. We're done with her, they said. We want you to back a recall. I agreed, with one condition, we do it clean. Facts, no games. The signatures came quick. Karen freaked out, went door to door raging, but the more she screamed, the more people shut her out. At the recall vote, the gym was packed. The ballots were counted. Karen was out as HOA president by a landslide. Security had to escort her out while she screamed about injustice. That next morning, the neighborhood felt lighter. People waved, kids played, even the mailman smiled. But I knew Karen wasn't done. Sure enough, she filed a lawsuit against me, by hand, without a lawyer. My attorney was gleeful. The judge dismissed it and ordered her to pay my fees. Karen spun it as oppression, even staged a little protest outside my gate. But now people were rolling their eyes, embarrassed for her. Then, one night, she tried to break into my lodge with bolt cutters. My motion lights caught her, sirens blared, and she bolted, leaving her tools and fingerprints behind. Deputies asked if I wanted to press charges. Not yet, I said. I was building an ironclad case. A few days later, the county announced a budget meeting. Karen would have a stage one last time. When she stood to rant about stolen lakefronts and community unity, I let her finish. Then, without raising my voice, I played the videos. Her midnight break-in, her mob rally, her fake lawyer. The room went silent, and when she screamed, "Doctored lies," nobody rallied. The board chair thanked me. Security escorted her out. The nightmare, finally, was over. In the weeks that followed, Karen vanished from public view. The neighborhood healed. I sat on my porch, finally at peace, neighbors waving as they walked by. Someone even brought me pie. I wasn't the outsider anymore, not because I gave in, but because I stood firm. In the end, Karen wanted a war. What she got was a mirror held up to her own chaos, and she destroyed herself. All I had to do was wait, play the long game, and let the truth do its work. So, what do you think? Was I right to stand my ground? Where's the line between community and chaos? I'd love to hear what you'd have done. Drop your thoughts below, and let's see how the story lands on your side of the fence.